Welcome to the Tradex Foods 3-Minute Market Insight. Here's the latest seafood news for the week of August 19th, 2013. This week we'll update you on the Pacific Halibut Fishery and the Hokkaido Chum Fishery. Let's start with halibut. At this point in the season, 11 million pounds have been landed in Alaska, 50.4% of the 2013 quota. In comparison, 15.4 million pounds, or 64.2% of the quota, have been caught at the same point last year. As you recall from previous episodes, the Alaskan halibut quota was reduced by 2.19 million pounds this year. Fresh sales have been strong with prices in the mid to high $7 range. Fewer fish harvested and steady fresh sales have kept more halibut out of the freezers, helping processors move their troublesome 2012 inventories. Alaskan halibut fishing efforts decrease in summer months as fishers focus on wild Alaskan salmon. With Alaskan salmon fishing winding down, harvests of halibut are expected to increase as vessels look to fill the remaining quota. As supply increases over the next 4 to 6 weeks, there may be slight downward pressure on fresh prices. Frozen inventory levels are lower than they were last year and prices are stronger. 10 to 20 pound prices were in the low to mid $5 range a year ago, with current prices in the mid $6 range. Now over to British Columbia, Canada, 61.5% of the halibut quota has been harvested. This is approximately 3.6 million pounds, which is up 11% in comparison to 2012. The BC halibut fishery is considerably smaller than the Alaskan fishery, and the fish is sold primarily as fresh. Prices for BC halibut fall in line with Alaskan halibut price levels as companies compete for sales in the same markets. The season for Pacific halibut fishing opened on March 23rd and will continue until November 7th as outlined by the International Pacific Halibut Commission. Let's move on to Japan. For many years, the Japanese Hokkaido Chum Fishery dominated the Chinese secondary processing market with strong supply and competitive prices. China imposed a moratorium on Japanese chum salmon importing in reaction to the Fukushima nuclear plant disaster in 2011. The ban has since been lifted. However, the import process is much more strict and thorough. Japanese salmon must be tested for radiation and be inspected very thoroughly when imported into China. Importers have been cautious on importing Japanese salmon due to the higher risk associated with the inspection process. However, Chinese processors may look to increase Japanese salmon imports as North American processors are reporting low inventories and shortages of 2013 chum salmon. Currently, chum salmon prices are up 45 to 50% over last year for all grades. Purchasers will see drastic price increases for fillets and portions in the months to come. Thank you for joining me for the Tradex Foods 3-Minute Market Insight. This is Robert Reierson. Buy smart and eat more seafood.